The Morning Sports Desk, available on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and WadenaRadio.com.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Monday, the 25th of November. CJ Baumgartner with Corey Tackman. Zeke joining us as well. We got a lot to break down with the Morning Sports Desk today because we're wrapping up the fall sports season for our Hubbard Radio-Wadena stations, and that means we have to go all the way to the Prep Bowl, guys, where Staples-Motley played in their first Prep Bowl since 1988. They took on Jackson County Central. Tyler and Zeke were on the call, and Zeke, just give us your first impressions of that game. Staples-Motley obviously unable to come out on top, but still a fun night of football.
Yeah, well, it was an awesome night of football. I mean, fans were down there loading up the fan buses, and yeah, the most anticipated Staples-Motley football game in 36 years. 1988 was the last time that they were there, and got out to a hot start. I mean, kind of confused the offense. Starting quarterback freaking for Jackson County Central, his second ever start, I think, first year out for football. State champion wrestler, so the dude's an athlete. Threw a pick six to Luke Bierger right away, and you figure, all right, here we go, game on. And then just a bunch of uncharacteristic turnovers by Staples-Motley. There was the ball that was tipped in the air, intercepted by Jackson County Central. They scored on that next drive, and just kind of went all the way. Everything went the way for the Huskies the rest of the game. Staples-Motley unable to catch up. Eli Redden gets hurt. We bring Alex Schultz to play quarterback, who played great wide, by the way, but you're missing your 6'4" option on the outside at that point, and JCC able to shut him down, but still an awesome, amazing accomplishment for Staples-Motley, especially based on where this program was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, where this program was sitting to now, I mean, just huge for that team and to get to go down there. Obviously, the fanfare of getting to play in a Prep Bowl and leading up to it and all that with this team. Yeah, it kind of felt like right away with that pick six, it was like, okay, here we go. Game on. Jackson County Central responded. I'm blanking on the guy's name, but that wide receiver, number 5 for Jackson County Central, boy, did he have himself a game. He just straight up could outmuscle guys in one-on-one matchups for the football and just kind of sprinted down the field. It felt like anytime they needed a big play, they just said, he's going to run down the field. And the quarterback every once in a while, there'd be kind of a wobbly ball or someone that would land in the turf at the feet of a player. But then he would throw, and that second touchdown pass he threw, I saw it go through the air. I heard it leave his hand. I could hear it like going through the air. And I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a great ball. And it just landed right in his arms. You mentioned the wrestling aspect for Fraking. He also plays baseball and is a pretty darn good baseball player in his own right, according to the preview episode we did with Dan Condon of the Jackson County Pilot. That guy could throw it, and we got to see a little bit of that. And sometimes you just run up to a team like that. It was really telling in the post-game press conference of just sometimes that's just how the games go. Maybe telling isn't the right word, but it was fascinating in the post-game press conference there was Coach Potter, obviously, there was Turner Beachy, there was Sawyer Ferdon, there was Gavin Chenoweth, and there was Dustin Converse, some of the guys in on the post-game pressers. And at one point in the game, they were kind of talking about Jackson County Central, and Turner Beachy said, something of, to the effect of like, hey, yeah, like they did this, we did that. It's like, I guess maybe we just didn't want it enough, or, like something that a player feels like we kind of have to say, maybe we didn't, maybe we should have tried harder, maybe we should have did whatever, a perfectly acceptable thing for a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid to say. And Coach Potter cuts in and goes, no, we wanted it. We played hard. We played a great game. They're just a good team on the other end. And I think that's basically the summarization of this football game. Are we wrong, Corey?
No, I mean, it's funny too, because we're talking about this sometimes like it wasn't the championship game. Like right. The opponent wasn't awesome. Like we talk about this a lot. The other team has agency in all of this, and Jackson County Central is a really, really great football team. And totally, in my estimation, I don't think this is unfair to say, deserved to be the state champion. They were an awesome football team. And there's sometimes in conversation a breakdown of a game that happens that makes it seem like it was week 6 of the regular season. And that's not what this was. And This was the championship game in an unbelievable season with an unforgettable storyline with all these guys from 2 years ago and the improvement to a section championship a season ago, a loss in a section title game, to playing in the Prep Bowl 2 years later in their careers. I think that is what's important to remember in all of this, and that yeah, breakdown obviously needs to happen from the game, but what a ride and what an experience and what an outcome for this Staples-Motley football program, who has had some historically down times in the state and in the country even. So for them to be able to do something like this, 40, what is it? Almost 40 years after their previous football experience.
36. My wife was born in 88 and she hates when people say nearly 40 years.
It's just a stellar achievement, and I don't think it should be thought of as anything other than that.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with that. It was a great season for Staples-Motley. They finished 12-1, I believe, on the campaign. And I think, we talk with the players throughout this playoff run, and, we tell them, did you guys think a prep bowl was possible? And they'll say an answer. And yeah, again, great answer for them of, we've believed that anything was possible. And that's, I believe, in the post-game presser, I can't remember who said it, if it was Dustin Converse or if it was one of the other players, but they said, we really felt like with the group of guys we had that anything was possible. And that's true. And I'm sure they believe that. But it's also hard for a team that's never been to a prep bowl to say, yeah, we can go to a prep bowl with a bunch of confidence. This is, obviously there's the 100th percentile outcome, which is winning the prep bowl. They had the 99th percentile outcome of their season and what they thought they could do. And the fact that they get to go down in Staples-Motley lore like this is pretty awesome. And that's a well-deserved season for them. They graduate a few guys. They graduate some important guys on their team, but there's still a good core of them that are coming back for one more run. And it'll be fascinating to see how this looks different next year, because they still have a lot of those core players. And also if some sections get redrawn, because it's this, every couple of years they redraw those. How different does that section 6AA look? Because there's only 5 teams in it right now. Obviously Osakis and Pillager are looking to hang around. Wadena, Deer Creek, and Monaga are trying to build up. So it'll see if does another team enter the mix? Does another team leave? How does that kind of impact to next year, right?
Right.
Well said.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The good thing about section realignment is you never know what's going to happen. I covered Detroit Lakes for a number of years, and their section also has 5 teams in it, section 8 4A, and they've got Princeton in their section. And for a while we had Grand Rapids in our section, and it just you never know where these pieces are falling. DL never played Grand Rapids when they were in their section. They've never played Princeton. It's always Little Falls or Rocori, it seems like. And Apollo was in there for a while, and just goofy things happen, especially with the way things are in 2A and trying to get a bunch of different schools in, and who moves up and who moves down. And yeah, it's great for us because it gives us something to cover every couple of years. But yeah, we'll just have to play the waiting game and see who's at it or who's not, and what new teams we get to play in the playoffs potentially.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of good stuff going on. Once again, just congratulations to Staples-Motley. I think just as kind of our final piece is this was a great run for them, but also it's a great run for us and some of the things we were able to do. Obviously, Tyler has done a great job covering them all season long. This was his 3rd year covering them. He covered them when they didn't win a football game. And I know, Corey, we're kind of like, oh, geez, we hope Tyler sticks around and wants to do this again. And he did. He stuck it out. He's been an awesome advocate for those kids. And he's now kind of got to follow it through with a prep bowl game getting to call, and Zeke getting to hop on for the section finals and state tournament runs, and getting to see all that has been huge for us. And just we get to cover a prep bowl, which is awesome. And not only that, but the Staples-Motley community, the players, the coaching staff. First of all, shout out to Coach Potter and the players. Anything we ask of them, they were willing to do. They were willing to meet with us. They were willing to give us their time in a very busy and hectic few weeks for them. So we always appreciate that. We appreciate the people of Staples-Motley listening to these episodides. I don't know if you guys have been able to look at the numbers for some of these, the reels we've put out, the episodes we've put out, the videos on YouTube, on the Hubbard Radio-Wadena YouTube page. go look at them, because we've gotten some huge numbers from that stuff. And it's because of, obviously, you just want to have people talk about it because it's awesome. And we appreciate that. It was a great time to launch Sports Cow. Can I get a moo?
Moo.
It was in unison. I love it. We've launched Sports Cow, which was able to take off thanks to some of this playoff success here. And go follow that on Facebook if you haven't already. That's our hub for local sports on Facebook. And it's just been a fun run. So I want to shout out the Staples-Motley community, coaching staff, players for their time and helping make that as successful as it was. I had a couple notes typed up for some of the numbers on what we did, but it looks like, unless it's just my two computers in the studio I'm in, it looks like Outlook is down. So it sure is. So early day for us. Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to mention one more thing, if that's okay, before we were very lucky after CJ got arrested for stealing a car to make it.
That story's coming up in a second.
That's my tease. But we were able to make it to the welcome home for the Cardinals, and I just really thought that was kind of a special moment for us to be able to witness, and we've been able to be a part of it from the outside looking in a little bit. From the radio station perspective. So it was really cool, I thought, to make it into that building. All four of us who were at the game and have been at the state tournament games, and Tyler all season, and Zeke through these playoff runs, were able to make it. And first of all, very emotional evening, of course, with Coach Potter and assistant coach Mattoon spoke, and AD Josh Lee. But then like the really cool moment, I thought, at the end, where they brought everybody in. They brought the whole team down and all the fans and parents, and they did that one final, what was it, family on three or something like that.
Breakdown, yeah.
They did the breakdown in the gym at the end, and then it was just commiserating in the gym afterwards. I just really thought that was a cool, beautiful little bow to tie on the season. Because it's Monday and basketball practice for those, or wrestling practice or hockey practice starts for those boys today. It's a quick turnaround in a way that it isn't often normally. And it's a quick turnaround because it was such a special season. I was glad we got to be a part of that.
A couple of exciting Mondays for Staples-Motley. You had practice. A lot of those football players returning today. And then next Monday is the grand opening of the Nest. And so that's going to be a huge deal for that community too. So that'll be cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's an awesome run. We're thankful to be a part of it. So thanks, Staples-Motley, for winning those football games and allowing us to go down and do that stuff. Wrapping up our winter sports coverage, guys, just in all of our Hubbard Radio-Wadena stations and all the teams we've covered all season long, whether it was Wadena Deer Creek, Sabika Volleyball, Parker's Prairie Football, Staples-Motley Football, and all other teams in between in our listening area, we've covered 53 different games this fall. 20 of them were playoffs, 33 regular season, something like, if you look at the playoff games, obviously volleyball gets a little bit, football gets a little bit. Corey got to go down to do a state tournament run for Sabika Volleyball, which feels like forever ago, but isn't that long ago. And obviously Staples-Motley, Parker's Prairie got to play in their first ever state semifinal game. There was a whole lot of stuff going on. We already talked about Sports Cow, and it's awesome. And you guys are here, so I'd like to thank you guys for all that stuff. It was really cool, and we got to do that, which again always just amazes me that they'll let me go anywhere and do some of this stuff to call games. So
for now.
The criminal record notwithstanding. All right, guys, I think this is as good a time as any. Why don't we got to talk, before we talk Vikings, we got to talk about what happened outside of the football game on Friday. It was a very eventful Friday for us. For those who don't know, if you followed on Facebook, we were driving down, we were carpooling together, doing our part, driving down, and all of a sudden we were driving on Highway 10. We got east of Becker, just past the stoplights. And all of a sudden it started rumbling, and we all kind of collectively looked at each other and went, maybe we should stop this car. And we got out, tires were fine, get back in. Corey gives us the old check and sees that our back wheel's fallen off.
Yep. No, so far, good. Keep going. That's exactly right.
I just want to make sure if you guys wanted to chime in if I'm missing anything.
Nope, that sounds 100% accurate to me so far.
We call a tow truck. We wait. We get there. We get in this tow truck. First of all, it's a 2-seater.
4 grown men in a single cab.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a Scotty McCreery song. If I'm right. And we all kind of pile in together and ride down this 10-mile drive to Big Lake, Elk River, somewhere in there.
Yep.
Lake. And we're in to this auto body shop, and we get there and we're waiting for the tow truck to do his paperwork. We're waiting for our boss to give us a picture of the company credit card so we can pay for this thing. We're waiting to see if this auto body shop can even fix our tire or our wheel, because the lug nuts fell off. They just 2 of the 3 of them, to which we found out afterwards that if we tightened up the other 3, we probably would have been fine.
Probably could have been okay. And it wasn't just the lugs, it was the studs, the wheel studs that, just sheared everything off.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
It was a mess. And so the auto body shop agreed to look at it. They were going to be able to get it fixed. And we were like, how are we going to get down to US Bank Stadium? We knew Tyler had gear. We knew he was going separate. We know he could have gotten the game on the air. So we weren't worried about that, which obviously we had a lot more, I think we were a lot more calm because we knew that was going to happen no matter what. But we get this loaner car from the auto body shop, and this is important for later, that we get to go, and they say if it's fixed, you just pick it up afterwards. We had the company card. We could pay for it. And we took this loaner car, this little 07 Impala, down into Minneapolis. We got to the parking garage. We did our stuff, did the game, got home, made our way, or got done with the game, started to make our way home. We got to this auto body shop to drop our keys off. There's a little key drop off, Corey, very fancy system that just lets you drop the key off in the floor of the office.
Yeah, just a mail slot that says key drop off, and you can hear it crash against the floor. And it was the door we all walked out of to earlier in the day to get to the loaner car. So it was just on the concrete floor. You could hear the key crash. But yeah, we made the switch and dropped the keys off and hopped in Jeep Whitley, and off we go.
Yeah, off we go. Not a hitch. It was my turn to drive, which is important for this story. So we get in the car, we get ready to go, we get on the highway, and could kind of feel like somebody was like tailgating us a little bit, or at least not being followed, but kind of being followed, as we get back out onto the highway. But we're like ready to get home. We're tired. We want to make sure we can get back and go see the welcome wagon.
It's only like 8:30. It's not even late.
I know. It's late because it's been dark for 4 hours.
It's dark, right?
It was first of all, we got to the auto body shop. We put all of our stuff we came in with a car. We put all of our stuff in a different car, and we left because that's what happens. We paid.
Yeah, they fixed our car. They got it done miraculously in the time that we were down at the bank. So Corey was in contact with this dealership or this auto body shop. Hey, your stuff is ready. He paid for it over the phone. We'll leave the key above in the visor. Just drop it off. Drop off the key and be on your merry way. We're kosher. We're good. Paid for. Everything's all
right.
Good.
Exactly. But apparently it wasn't that clear to somebody else, or like to 5 other people. Those 5 other people just happened to be police officers, because we got pulled. All of a sudden the cop lights flash on, and I was like, guys, I think they're pulling us over. So we pull over to the side, and whatever, did we just forget to turn our lights on? Is there a light out? I mean, Jeep Whitley is it's an 07. So like anything could happen with this car. And all of a sudden I think Zeke mentions, like, I think there's a second cop car behind the first cop car, to which I then, like, I think I just peeked back at you guys, and I just kind of looked and I said, right before the cop got to the window, go, do they think we stole this car? And he rolled down the window, and the cop said, I pulled you over because you didn't use your blinker.
Which is code for, I think you guys stole this car.
Which is code for, I needed a reason to pull you over because I think you stole a car.
Yep.
Yeah. And
awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And whatever. We're just casually answering because we did nothing wrong. We didn't even.
Hold on. I want to interrupt before you go any further into this. CJ, I will allow you to defend yourself in just a moment. But you didn't casually answer anything. I want you to know, from my perspective, on a scale of 1 to 10 nervousness, you seemed like roughly a 7.5 or 8. You, the way you answered those questions was so funny to me in the moment, and now in hindsight even more, knowing we didn't do anything wrong. So, how nervous were you?
Not nervous at all, because we didn't do anything wrong.
Your answers then. All right. Now that I know that, your answers were awful. You did a terrible job.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This is how I always view things. I feel like there are certain situations where I can talk and I can do this and I can explain myself. And then there are certain situations where, and I'm not saying this as a detriment, I turn into my dad, which is just very quick answers.
Yes.
Which is just like, yep. Yeah. No, just this, just that. And without even realizing it, I made the transition. And that's where I went. Cause they asked us they said, where are you coming from? And I said, we were coming from Minneapolis. We just got done doing a game.
No. You didn't say any of that. You said Minneapolis.
Where are you guys from? Minneapolis.
Where are you coming from? Minneapolis.
That's where we were coming from. He didn't say he didn't say, where are you guys from? We said, we were coming.
Where are you coming from?
And then he said, where we worked. And then we said, Hubbard Radio-Wadena.
No, you didn't. You said Hubbard Broadcasting.
Okay. Wadena.
There was no mention of Wadena. There was no mention of Wadena.
He also grabbed my license that's at Eagle Bend. There was no proof that's
I want to make sure we clarify how and why we got to the situation.
Oh, this is such a stupid story. I love it. And yeah, so we get into that point, and that's not even the best part of the story, Corey. The best part is the fact that they asked for proof of insurance, which we didn't have, by the way.
How long have we had Jeep Whitley? Like a month or something?
A month.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No insurance in there. Just, what are the odds we're going to get pulled?
On the record, this is going on the internet forever. There is insurance on the vehicle. There just was no proof in the vehicle. All right, I'll make sure.
Good clarification. Thank you.
And the reason we needed that is just for another proof that it was our vehicle, which we didn't have.
Right.
So that's what extended this situation a little longer. I believe they asked for an invoice because we said we picked this up from an auto body shop. And the reason that they were monitoring that auto body shop is it recently had a car stolen from it.
Right.
Well, of course, when you see another group of people come in, and typically when somebody steals a car from a place, they go back and do it again. And I just want to think that the cops looked at us and went, how did we miss them the first time? These guys are idiots. They're just out in the open. Like, they're stealing a car so cavalier about it.
It's a very nonchalant car stealing, if that's in fact what it was.
Dude, why are they taking an 07 Jeep Grand Cherokee of all the cars in this lot? There's all these big F-150s. Why are they taking that piece of junk?
And why are you trying to steal the whole car? Just steal the catalytic converter and call it a day. What are you doing? Anyway, so they asked for the invoice, and of course we couldn't find it because it fell or what. I don't know what happened to it. Zeke ended up finding it.
We were sitting on it. Zeke was sitting on it, I think.
Yeah, I was. Sure was.
He was just making sure nobody got to it because
keep it secret, keep it safe.
Keep it secret, keep it safe. And that was important because if we didn't have it, we were really in trouble.
I think you kept the invoice the same place CJ kept the belt buckle when we were flying across.
So we open up the center console, and there's this little phone stabilizer that I think is still in there. I think I forgot to grab it. And we used it for videos, like the video we did of the send-off for Staples-Motley. I had it. Just, you can kind of pan, you can do a lot of stuff with it better than holding it with your hand. The only problem was it was a black handle with a matte finish, which means to a police officer, it looks like a gun. And
I quote, "Is that a gun?"
He was very surprised with his gun. He was not calm about it at all.
But he thought we stole a car.
He's like, is that a gun? He was very like, it's like, first of all, man, how dumb do you think we are that we just...
He thinks we stole a car.
He thinks we're idiots.
He thinks we're idiots. He watched us steal a car, and now we're rooting around for insurance, and then there's a gun stock in the handle of the center console.
I think he's waiting for us to dig around, and all of a sudden there's going to be some illegal contraband or something like that in there. He's waiting.
Turns out that guy's got to prep for exactly what he was prepping for.
Yeah.
And there are different versions of the story. My version, my truth.
Okay.
Is, that he said, "Is that a gun?" And to which I said, "No, it's a camera stabilizer. Here, I can show you." And to which Corey believes I just grabbed it and went, "Here, officer, what do you think this is?"
You maybe said that. I would like to, and I want Zeke's opinion on this because I've already shared my version of the story. But from the back seat, I am the Michael Jackson gif eating popcorn, just like I can't. And you may have said that, but the amount of time between you saying that and you pulling the stabilizer out is, in my impression, at the exact same time. You waited no time at all for that cop to go, "Is that a gun?" And you went, "This?"
To be fair, I wasn't nervous through most of that. That part did get me nervous that he thought I had a gun. So in my defensive instinct, there was a little bit of a, "No, this is not a gun, officer. I swear to
a weapon."
Here, officer, I swear. One of you.
So, all right.
How dumb would I be to pull a gun on an officer while there's 4 others around? Like, it'd just be.
CJ, it happens all the time, buddy.
I know it does. But I'm not saying those people are smart.
All right. Break the tie here, Zeke. What was it? Who's right here?
He did move fast to show that it was not a gun. Probably faster than he should have.
For nothing.
But he did mention it was for his camera.
Yes.
But the worst part is he picked it up, and as he held it in the dark, it clicked, and it sounded like he was putting a bullet in the chamber. Was what I heard. That was the worst part. He held it up, and it like shifted in his hand, and it clicked as he's holding it like this. And I was like, "Oh no, oh no!"
All of a sudden, it's you guys are gonna have to bring me back to the station and see that I have 3 bullet holes in my chest.
We'll bring you to the morgue, by the way.
Who shot up Jeep Whitley?
I was about to cause an incident. I was about to cause a nationwide incident.
It was awesome. They pulled you from the vehicle at one point to question you further, while they could question us in the vehicle to get.
I should mention, you guys got the better of the two, the more calm of the two. Because when I got back in the car, you guys were talking about the football game, and that cop that cop was still accusing me of stealing a car because he was like asking our side of the story. I'm like, "Look, man, we went down to cover a football game. Our car broke down. We needed a rental. We got a loaner, and then we brought it back. Like that's all it was. That we want to go home."
They were still trying to figure out if the car was stolen when they talked to us too.
Uh-huh.
I think probably Zeke did a better job than you did of explaining this. Just a more concise, clear picture. And that's
totally fair. Zeke totally did that.
We also had the invoice again. They looked at the invoice one more time. Maybe they still had it. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've tried my best to not be just chirping up because that's not super respectful of the situation. But I was like, "Do you guys want to see a text message from them too?" Because I got that, and I rolled the window down and showed them the text. And the second that happened, remember Becker, 6 minutes down the road, also played in a prep bowl, and we're in Big Lake. They know everything about what's going on. So the second that was sorted out, yeah, you're right. We just chatted football for 5 minutes.
Like 10 minutes while you were getting interrogated. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. By the way, I got out of the car and I didn't put my hands in my pockets at all. I just kind of had them at my side and like, "Could you please get your hands away from your pockets?" I'm like, "Dude,
Hey man, I'm not here to disrespect. I'm here to respect the blue line. They thought we stole a car and you had a weapon." They did their job.
That was only the camera holder. Now in my pocket was it's the Michael Scott bit. I'm going to whisper into his ear. "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
He said he has a gun and he's with the FBI. Here's some. That's all I was doing. Anyway, we got back in. They also asked us, by the way, "Do you have a rental agreement for the car?" Which we did not have.
We certainly did not. No,
we did not have.
We had that good old Midwest handshake agreement.
Yeah. It was and to which that car shop was awesome. Those guys were great. The cops were fine. To be fair, they totally booked one of us in the back of a cop car. That totally. Oh, yeah. I was waiting for it.
Do you remember? We should probably shout out. I can't remember the name of the. Do you remember the tow?
Collins Brothers out of St. Cloud.
Mitch was the truck driver. He was awesome. And then it was Bush Automotive or something like that.
SCH, baby.
Yeah. They were great. They were awesome to work with and very accommodating considering the emergency. And we should probably also shout out Big Lake Police Department for their thorough efforts in keeping
Liberty County's finest, baby.
To be fair, in all of this, it totally looked like we stole a car, right?
100%.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thank you all for sticking around for this story. That capped off our day.
I want to know, Zeke, what did we miss here? What's missing from the story?
Oh, man.
One potential final punchline to this. Yeah, but I want to see. I haven't heard your full perspective now yet.
I don't think we're missing anything. But apparently we are, and I'm excited to see what we're missing.
How about the part? This is why, CJ, I'm convinced you were a 7.5 to 8.5 out of 10 nervousness. When we
the drive home, the long drive home.
at 55 miles an hour.
To be fair, I didn't want to
get to Staples from Big Lake.
Hey, to be fair, I didn't want any more reason to get pulled over. We were getting.
You could have driven the speed limit.
I want to get there, but I want to get there alive.
Now it looks like we're the guys who definitely are. Wow, these guys, they're driving a little too slow, aren't they?
Overcompensating now.
I just didn't want to hit a deer, you know?
Uh-huh.
That would have been the exclamation part on a.
Tyler was texting me. He's like, "You guys think you're going to make it in time?" And I looked up at the speed limit, and it was. I was at a weird angle, but I think it said 55, and I text Tyler back and go, "I don't think so."
We did. We got there just as they were coming in.
Yeah, we made
just
it.
They're coming in. And the best part is Shane Tappy already knew most of the story when we got there. It's like, you guys get arrested on the way back up?
I remember you were telling this story to another Hubbard radio employee who works out of the Brainerd stations, and you were telling her the story. And as they were talking about it, Corey, Josh Lee, activities director, Staples-Motley, was definitely like, you could hear, like, he was just kind of standing next to us, and he was like, "What?" And then I think he turned around like, "You guys almost got arrested?" Like, what?
We did.
But that we did.
It's the only thing that was missing is someone in the back of that car would have been just a beautiful, beautiful cherry on top of that mess of a Sunday that we had.
It would have been perfect. It would have been perfect. There's no way
it made me happiest most of all that it was you.
Oh yeah, no, there was no other way it was going to have been me. You think it would have been like Zeke? Zeke would have handled that situation much better. Then it wouldn't have been as funny.
It would have been quicker, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I was the driver when the lug nuts fell off. Corey got to drive that crappy Impala downtown Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fate. I guess we each had our turn doing something awful that day.
What was it they told you when you got the car, the loaner car?
Oh yeah, she looked at me. She goes, "Here's the keys. Every light on that thing is going to turn on like it's a freaking Christmas tree. It's fine."
And it was.
And she said, "Good luck."
Oh man,
it was awesome. It was awesome.
What a day! What a day!
Probably not done with the Jeep either. I would assume that it's going to break down again at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
have fun driving that to CI for basketball. Whichever two you were doing that game.
Not ideal.
Going to Aiken.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I scheduled Corey to cover the hockey team in High Falls. So I'm driving that up there. Don't hit a moose.
I'll talk to the Nagurskis. They'll set me up.
Yeah.
Corey's just going to get a plane and fly. That'll be safer.
Ooh, private jet? Yes, please.
There's a Hubbard jet. I could get a jet for sure.
Yeah. We can make that work. We could get it in there.
We know some guys.
All right, quickly, Minnesota Vikings win yesterday. They get a 30-27 win in overtime. And much like our drive home on Friday, not one moment was boring. So the Vikings had with 51 seconds to go, had, I believe, a 99.9% chance to win that football game. They, however, have an onside kick that was recovered by Chicago. 2 plays later, Caleb Williams, with no timeouts, by the way, gets them into field goal range, and they kick a game-tying field goal. And then the Bears get the ball first. Jonathan Grenard, while being held by 2 different individuals, and you can see on the replay, he put his palms up like, "Oh, you guys not seeing this?" And then threw them off and then sacked Caleb Williams because he held onto the ball for 10 minutes. Vikings get the ball back. Sam Darnold hits TJ Hawkinson a couple times. They kick a game-winning field goal. John Parker Roma has a great mean mug celebration, and the Vikings improve to 9-2. Chicago Bears lose their, I believe, 5th game in a row. It's just been a mess for them since starting out 4-2 on this season. Jordan Addison had 163 yards and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson had over 100 yards. Aaron Jones had over 100 yards. The Vikings got their first second half touchdown in forever. They did not break the record set by the Dayton Triangles, which I was kind of hoping. But for all you Dayton Triangle fans, at least that's out there.
May you rest in peace.
They all are resting in peace. They're all dead. The game happened in the 30s.
I didn't know the Dayton Triangles were a thing, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
There's a team called the Triangle.
It's like the Duluth Eskimos or something like that. So anyway, that's something that happened. Guys, should we be concerned about the way that game finished, or should we just be glad that they got out of Soldier Field with their 5th straight win in Chicago now?
There's a couple trending things with this Vikings team, and trending probably isn't even the right word. We're talking about close to 2 full seasons of this. They turn the ball over way too much. Another fumble in the opening drive in the red zone. We go back to last year. CJ, remember all the work we put in last year about all the turnovers that they committed in scoring zones, either inside the other 30 to give the other team, the opposing team, either a field goal or an easy touchdown, or within the other side of the 30 going in, which is, it's not the red zone, but they should come away with points once you're inside the 30. And they're doing it again a lot right now. The disclaimer on that part of it is that it's on the road. It's weird. Everything's weird on the road. Everything
has fumbled 2 games in a row now, though.
Everything is especially weird in Chicago. So I don't like that part of it. I don't like the sloppiness that is now more than a season and a half worth of evidence that that's being the case. But mostly what I took from this game is I'm so glad I don't know any Chicago Bears fans. If I were a Chicago Bears fan, I would be through the roof because I think they're decent. I think that's a decent team, and they can't help but shoot a toe off every possession. I mean, they find a way to have like 2 borderline catastrophic screw ups a quarter. It's insane to watch that team play. The thing that makes Caleb Williams so awesome and what gets them into the tying score is the same thing that, like, he almost threw 6 interceptions in that game because he doesn't have a single finesse bone in his entire body. It's just muscle on muscle. They're an insane football team to watch.
They are talented. They are a talented football team. They are not well coached, or at least they don't like their coach, as we are learning. By the way, every fumble that the Vikings have, everybody just has that picture of Kevin O'Connell last year when he had the big cotton cleaner and they were like hitting players while the football. So every time they fumble, it just says him like this with the stupid stick, and it looks hilarious. But the Bears are they're a talented roster. And Keenan Allen, by the way, turned back the clock, of course, because he always does against the Vikings and has a big game. But yeah, I mean, the Chicago Bears are a team that is going to fire their head coach because every bad loss, everybody goes running to talk about how they were not prepared for the situation, how they were not ready, how they had a players only meeting, I believe, over the last week, and they were telling the coaching staff, please coach us harder. Like, not that you guys are being too rough on us, lay off. It's like, please rip us a new one a little bit. Like, do whatever. The Vikings, when they blocked that field goal post-game, they were asked, Vikings players were, what went into that? Like, did they change anything from a week ago? And they said, no, actually, we were kind of surprised that they didn't change anything from a week ago when they got the field goal block. So we just did what the Packers did, and we blocked another field goal and almost blocked the game-tying one. So good job, Bears. Good job. Our GM is gonna love to hear that if he listens to this later. Good job, Eberflus. You guys are doing great. I'm not worried about this game. Weird one. Vikings had a big chance they were up big, or not up big, but they were up 2 scores late. Fluky plays happen. Not to say that it excuses the bad stuff like the turnovers and like some of this other stuff, but you're in Soldier Field. It's a division game. Things can get weird. And Jordan Addison had such a big game. And the real thing out of all this, and then we'll let Zeke chime in with a couple points. This may have been Sam Darnold's best game, not just as a Viking, but in his entire career. He took a couple sacks, but that weren't great because he held onto the ball too long. But there was no like pass where you went, ooh, I'm glad that one fell harmless to the grass. Like, he just played really good point guard football where he just distributed the ball where it needed to go. That throw to Jordan Addison early in the third quarter, he threaded a needle on that one. It looked great. Sam Darnold had a really, really good game. And it kind of, especially after last week was okay, but 2 weeks ago, to have a game like that, at least just kind of helps steer that ship in terms of the confidence meter of the offense.
Yeah, I think having T.J. Hawkinson back helps that quite a bit because Justin Jefferson was held to 2 catches or something like that. Not much. But you have Jordan Addison who had a
3 wider. There was like 3 or 4 defensive backs all following Jefferson. Meanwhile, Addison is just running wide open free.
Exactly. Had that big catch over the shoulder contested grab that got him down to the 1 yard line. You had Hawkinson making big plays in overtime. Like you mentioned, both of the guys over 200 yards. And it just shows it's that next man up mentality, even though that Justin Jefferson is on the field. I think he said post game, like, I don't care about my stats. We got the win. If I'm not going to have those 200 yards, give them to other people and let us get that win, which is weird to hear the highest paid receiver in football say, because they want those numbers. They want the accolades. They want the confidence. They want the stats. They want this and this and that. He's like, no, we're a 9-2 football team. I mean, do we deserve to be 9-2? I don't know. Maybe not. But here we are. The game against Jacksonville, not pretty. The game against Tennessee, final score, a little less closer than what that game should have been. And now you look at the box score here and see a 3-point win against Chicago, and a game that the Vikings had wrapped up and almost lost that one. I don't think in my entire lifetime, I don't think the Vikings have ever played a clean game in Chicago. And if they have, I don't remember it, because it's these weird ones happen so much more frequently than the good ones. And you can just add this one, another chapter in just the weird games the Vikings play at Soldier Field. Luckily, they escape with the win. Green Bay wins yesterday. Again, the Lions win yesterday again. So it's the 10-1 Lions, the 9-2 Vikings, and the 8-3 Packers. Boom, boom, boom at the top of the division. And I think right now the Vikings are the 5 seed. They have the second best record in the conference. They're tied for the second best record in the NFC. And they're the 5 right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, with Washington slipping up to Dallas yesterday too, it kind of knocks. I think Philadelphia's got a path to run away with the division. Mm-hmm. Washington all of a sudden has kind of got to figure some things out, but the NFC West is only going to have one team represent them. Same with the NFC South. So it's basically, I mean, you kind of have the playoff picture already starting to take shape. It's just kind of who is going to fill what spot, and the Vikings are putting themselves in a very good position to do that. And I know it feels like the Lions are going to run away with the division, and they probably will end up doing that at some point, but also the Vikings are only a game back. And out of all the teams, I know the Buccaneers beat the Lions and they get credit for that. Mm-hmm. But the only other team to play the Lions close was the Vikings.
If Sam Darnold converts that third down late in the game,
mm-hmm.
Vikings are 10-1, not the Lions.
The Vikings get a 2-point conversion in that game against Detroit, and then Detroit kicks for the tie instead of for the win. Yep. So there's a couple different things there that, again, there could very well be a chance the Vikings-Lions final week of the season has some implications for not just the division, but for the number 1 overall seed, which is, go back and tell ourselves that 3 months ago. It's just a huge spot for this football team to be in. Okay. All right. This has been a long episode. I want to wrap it up with one last thing, unless you guys got any other Vikings thoughts you want to get out into the world, but I think we covered it.
They play Arizona.
Arizona this weekend. This is where the gauntlet begins. Some tough games coming up. Arizona, then the return of Kirk, the US Bank Stadium the week after that. These are big games coming up here for the Vikings.
Playing Chicago again on Monday Night Football. Then you go to Seattle, host Green Bay.
100th year in a row, the Vikings have to go to Seattle. I don't get it.
Yeah.
When does Seattle ever come here? That's a whatever.
Never. Seattle, Arizona. It seems like those two guys are always on the schedule every single year.
I think there was a playoff game. Seattle had to come to Minnesota, wasn't there?
We don't talk about that anymore.
Did something happen there? I don't remember that. I don't remember it being at the Metrodome or US Bank Stadium, so I don't think it happened.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Zeke, you get to join us for the all-name team.
Okay.
The all-name team for junior college. Here are the honorable mentions. Vikings legend Sam Bradford.
He looks different than I remember him.
From State Fair Community College.
That's a sweet name. I'd go there.
Yeah, I mean, you might as
well. For the funnel cakes and the popcorn.
Please let that be in Iowa, because it just sounds like a perfect. That sounds like something in Iowa.
I'm going to look up and see where it is.
How about Yell Ding?
Love
from
it.
Casper College.
Yep. As has always been the case, the African names are just awesome. They're just awesome. Ball. Remember we had Yak a couple. Was that last week, CJ?
Yeah.
They're just cool sounding.
Yeah. Jace Dunkel. That's another good one.
State Fair Community College is in Missouri, by the way, so it's close.
Okay, close enough. Ari Gooch.
Yeah.
Traylon Green.
Yeah, the Gooch.
Cooper Hawk. Abel Houston.
Okay, now we're getting into them here.
Yep.
Troy Huggs. Okay, perfect. Gimme Kelly.
So this is the first one that stood out to me on the list so far. Is it Jimmy? Is it Jim?
I feel like it's
weird way. Is that a weird way to
GYMMY? K-I-M-E is how you spell it.
Want to be
Bill's legend, Jim Kelly with a G.
right? We
Yeah.
got spelling.
With a G-Y.
If you're, and by the way, if your name is Gimme Kelly, you have to come off the bench.
Yeah.
You can't be a starter for whatever school you're starting for.
The coach has to look at
Gimme
this.
Kelly.
Oh, Gimme Kelly.
Hey, are Troy Hugs and Gimme Kelly from the same school? Because the logo behind them
Yes,
looks
they are. They're both from Dawson Community College.
Sweet.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Denham Leslie
Perfect.
from Lakeland Community College in Illinois.
I think we're playing his new hit single on the Superstation soon.
Oh, awesome. I love that. Nikabari Mai.
Okay.
I'm going to go me. Jeremy Innocent, which is exactly what we were saying in the cop car on Friday.
Yep. He's never committed a foul in his life.
He's innocent.
Jeremy Innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Bourboned him.
Said Mobusher. He said it.
Yep.
That's good enough for me. Dimp Purnell. You're a starter with the name Dimp.
Dimp.
That's got to be a nickname, right?
I hope so.
That has to be.
Family name.
I'm the opposite of you. I hope that's not a nickname.
That's a given name.
From a long line of dimps.
I am Dimp Purnell the Fourth.
Purnell, Dimp, present.
Cairo Wells.
Cool. Just a cool sounding name. That's that's a little like if somebody were to make a parody of like a James Bond, like if your name's Cairo Wells, you sound like you're probably like you have your suits tailored. You know what I mean?
Cairo Wells is a casino mogul who has a criminal empire sitting underneath it.
Yes, exactly right. Say hello to my little friend. I'm Cairo Wells.
Yeah. You tell him it was Cairo Wells and the Suggins gang. Tommy Coons from Lewis and Clark Community College.
I don't think his name is on.
That's the Missouri.
I don't think his name is on there because that's how you pronounce it.
How would you pronounce it, Corey?
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm confused. I don't know how you pronounce
Very,
it.
very reminiscent of Rusty Coons, former Minnesota Twins player.
That's exactly right. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Wendell Yu.
Dun 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 dun. You.
Please tell me that it's his. He's got Soulja Boy as that song, so it's just you.
It's got to be. If he came out of the bullpen for his college, man,
be the best.
Forget Hell's Bells with Mariano. This would be.
That'd be it.
Game over.
I'm so happy it's all baseball references here too, because I think about how confusing it would be to play with him on a pop-up in the infield. Whenever you. I got it. You. Me.
And that's why the coach that's why coaches go, you never say you always say if you're getting it.
And another one drops in the infield.
Yeah.
It's the third one this half inning.
He's a senior. He's been a 4-year starter. I don't know how they continue to have these snafus. Felix Smedjeback.
What?
Love it.
Smedjeback. Smedjeback.
Any relation to Jeff Smedjeback from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the San Francisco Cubs? Who did he play for? That was Samardzija.
The Giants. Yeah, Samardzija. You're close.
Samardzija. Yeah.
There was a J in that name where there shouldn't have been one.
Yes, right, exactly. MIENTKIEWICZ. And that's how you spell Minkiewicz.
Oh, that'll do it. This has been the Morning Sports Desk for a Monday, the 25th of November.
The Morning Sports Desk, available on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and WadenaRadio.com.